Candace Owens. So, folks, Officer Tatum has finally called her out. Finally, he has named her.
But that don't mean some of my conservative Jewish friends, like even Ben Shapiro, Candace is one of my really good friends, and I don't like the way that happened at Daily Wire. I know why it happened. I don't like the way it happened, but even Ben Shapiro has done so much for America, and Daily Wire has done so much for the movement. How can you then categorize him and Dennis Prager and some of these other Jewish people that have been a force in making America the greatest, the way that it is today?
Is it hard to have a friendship? But is it hard to have a friendship with somebody who, like, clearly there's a lot of things. I mean, she seems very much obsessed with just talking about the Jews, even like all roads lead to Jews, whatever it is. Yeah. I'm just, is that like hard to have that kind of friendship?
Yeah, it's not. It's because, see, if I was Jewish, it would be a lot harder to me. But I have a history with Candace. Like when we first started, she wasn't saying this about Jews. So we have a history of way back when she was Red Pill Black and I'm Officer Tatum, and she stuck by me and have supported me from then to now. And so that friendship it's hard to get rid of that friendship. And I will never get rid of my loyalty and friendship to Candace. And like, it's like a family member,
right?
Like some of my family members are not any of them that I talk to now, but they still talk behind my back. Cause some family members tell me that, they still talk about you. You're still my family. And I still go to the cookout. I just don't want to hear you talk about this. And when we hang out, you got, unless you want to argue with me, then we ain't gonna bring the topic up. And I think that's the difference. Like Tucker Carlson is not my friend. I don't know him whatsoever, and I bash him every chance I get.
Saw that on X.
And there's other people who are not my friends. We don't have a connection, so I don't have to be friends with them, and I can not listen to their content anymore.
But if you let me, I just want to tell you the thing that's very dangerous about what.
So let's, I want to just pause it for just a moment and let's talk about that. So, he's finally come out and said why he doesn't really go after Candace Owens, although he vehemently disagrees with her obsession with the Jews. He said he doesn't address her publicly because of their friendship. What do you think of that, Shelley? Think that's admirable?
I think it is understandable. I've said this before. I think number one, it's understandable in that if you have a friendship with someone, and again, he even said before she started, I guess, talking like this, however he worded it, they were already friends. So I don't understand why people need to bash, if you will, their friends, whatever disagreements on social media. We already know social media does a lot of that. For whatever reason, I respect that in that sense, that the friendship is different. Whatever, you might hash it out behind the scenes, but everything doesn't need to be brought to social media. That's one thing. The second thing was when Stella asked him,
we haven't got.
Okay, all right, but I can. That's understandable. I mean, I don't think any of us would get online and just go after our friends like that. That's not something we would do. You do it behind the closed doors, whatever disagreements you have, and that's it. I mean, everything doesn't need to be brought to social media.
Right. Now, the next part, she goes into talking about how the things that Candace has said, it's what she's doing is, it's not just how we have family disputes where somebody from the family goes on and says, I was disinvited from Christmas dinner, and my sister, my cousin disinvited me from Christmas dinner, and I'm gonna rat her out. I'm gonna tell her off online, on Facebook or on YouTube or whatever. She has a large platform, and what she's doing, particularly if it's untrue, is dangerous. So does what she's saying cause, or the seriousness behind it, does that say you need to call her out? Take a look at this next part of the clip.
Owens is doing, and even though she is your friend, and you know, she would probably say, oh yeah, you're gonna accuse me because of me. But no, when you start with this kind of anti-Semitism, you know, I'd rather use Jew hatred. Okay, it's Jew hatred. When you spread this kind of Jew hatred and you're constantly blaming the Jews and all these people who start hating the Jews and whatever, the next thing you know, they're shooting up a synagogue, or you know, they're going to a school. And it just pains me because I have children too. It's scary. It's really scary because you're putting these thoughts in these wackadoodles' minds. And that's where I think what she is doing is very dangerous, because it's like she'll say things like, trust me, I know, I have on good sources, I have this. Show the receipts. That's the problem with the other side right now, is they're just like, they just say these things like, trust me, bro, I have the receipts, and then they put these things out there. They play offense. They play offense, and what they do is they put the people like you and I on defense. So we're constantly like defending ourselves.
So there definitely is a little bit more to the story. First and foremost, that letter he is holding up, he is severely misrepresenting. Those sentences are real, but I am calling upon Bibi Netanyahu, the dear friend to Charlie Kirk, to publish the letter's entire contents. Like, don't start with just 2 sentences. Publish the entire thing. You're holding it. I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the contents, that in May, Charlie was concerned about Israel and their influence on American politics and how they were pushing things that he felt were in conflict with his beliefs, free speech here in America. Bibi's holding it up like Charlie just in May said, hey, you know what? I just want to write a love letter to Israel. That's how it was presented. Would you guys agree? That's not how it happened. Let's stop saying how Charlie felt, and instead, if you're going to hold up the letter, release it in its entirety, okay? And lies by severe omission, I'd like to be very clear, are lies. And does anybody want to jump in and say, no, yeah, the letter Charlie wrote him in May was just like a glowing, he just was overcome with passion and said, I love Israel. You guys are amazing. You're beautiful. We're going to win this thing, and you're perfect and doing nothing wrong. Love you, Bibi. Homie very quickly told us that Charlie was penning love letters to him in May. I just find that weird that no one wants to address the substance of the claims here, whether or not maybe Bill himself has an opinion on whether Bibi lied by severe omission when he mentioned his last correspondences with Charlie. And you're doubling down on your lie. I told you to publish the full letter that Charlie wrote you, not lines of it. Okay? So lie by omission, doing Fox News and Greta Van Sustern's show, he lied about the contents of a letter that Charlie Kirk had written him.
Remember on September 18th, I reported about a letter that Charlie Kirk wrote to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, what was exactly in it? Well, the New York Post got a hold of that letter. They've now published it, and it's exactly what I reported. Now, Charlie Kirk expressing his love for Israel, warning about the disinformation war, and really urging Israel to do better when it comes to social media and how to reach the younger people. No attacks on Israel, just advice on how to fight lies and reach the next generation. I'm not going to read the 7 pages, but it says, everything written here is from a place of deep love for Israel and the Jewish people. Israel is losing the information war and needs a communications intervention. Then he goes on to say, Mr. Prime Minister, I urge you, in caps, to revamp your information war strategy from top to bottom. It's exactly what I said, what was in the letter.
Can anybody actually work and assert that I am lying? You can say my name. Candace Owens lied.
Charlie Kirk wrote of his deep love for Israel in letter to Netanyahu about how to counter rising opposition to the Jewish state in the U.S. I suppose I just, ask the man himself your view on all of this, because just you tell me, because I'm not going to put words in your mouth.
Is this letter verified? Is this letter true?
Yeah, I mean it's real. Yeah.
But they just really, that's literally what's been happening lately. They just throw all this stuff out, and it's like it's almost like they light a match and they set the fire and let it go. And a lot of people who may not even know Jews or just hate Jews altogether, this is dangerous.
So let's talk about that. And I want to get your thoughts on this, Tyrone. Do you think that warrants you coming out? You have a platform, your friend has a platform, they're doing this. Do you think this warrants him coming out and saying, pushing back against what she's saying? Or do you still agree with what he said, that he doesn't want to address it due to their friendship?
Well, I can respect that. I mean, if you're genuinely friends, you can talk about some things are not going to be meant for public consumption. So if that's the case, then I definitely get that. The larger issue for me, and I've expressed this on your platform before, is that I've always been very leery of conservative ink. Okay. These platforms that are, gargantuan and are, and this also happens on the left. And it was recently proven on the left that a lot of the leftist social media kingpins, they're getting paid to espouse certain views. I think a lot of that also exists on the right. Now, with regard to Candace, Candace is all over the place. Okay. The guy over in France, his wife's a man. How in the hell you're going to prove that she's a man? I have no idea. Okay. And why it matters also mystifies me as well. So I've never paid any attention to anybody on conservative ink. Okay. That's why I like, honestly and genuinely, that's why I was happy to see Pop and Politics come along, because I know you guys are not bought and paid for it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I can guarantee Soldiers of Finance, nobody paying for that. We're trying to keep the lights on at Soldiers of Finance. Okay. So yeah, on the one hand, I get where he's coming from. Okay. But at the same time, there's a lot of palace intrigue here and very little in the way of information and objective truth.
Yeah. I agree there. But Nicole, I mean, Candace Owens has millions of followers, not just on YouTube, also on X, also on Instagram. I mean, probably across her platform, she has multi-millions of followers. And, there are some people that, their first interaction with conservatism, maybe even with Christianity, is Candace Owens. The Bible warns that false teachers will come disguised as truth tellers in Matthew 7. So when she undermines not only conservatism, but Christianity and spreads doubt about the church, she has come out against evangelicals. She's come out against Protestants. She's acting as a stumbling block. Is it not a person's Christian duty over their maybe friendship to call her out? Or is it something that you say, hey, I'm going to, I value our friendship, and maybe it's not, that important? What are your thoughts there?
Listen, I've been begging for the last 2 weeks for somebody in her circle to get a hold of this woman, to talk to this woman, so that she can continue to have those 5 million followers, subscribers, whatever she has. But what's happening is she's consuming herself. She's falling inward, right? And when she's falling inside, what happens is everything around her is wrong. She started off this devout Christian. Now she's so Catholic that she don't even like the Pope no more. She's been swore off all of her friends unless you absolutely walk in lockstep with her. And that's almost impossible because the steps keep changing, right? So when you see someone imploding on themselves, if they're your friend, even if they're in your friend circle, it is your Christian duty to help them. She doesn't think she needs help because the checks keep coming. But can I tell you, wealth ain't everything. Right. Wealth, I'd rather be a free, poor beggar than be a wealthy hostage any day of the week. So there's something wrong. There's something clearly wrong. And just watching the progression of her show, how she started and where she is now, something has happened to Candace. Now, whether you like it because it's purely entertaining or, you also are a conspiracy theorist, no shade, do your thing. But know that she's very different from where she started. In a very small amount of time, something has happened to Candace. And Tatum being her friend should not just be like, oh, well, it's just Candace. It's just how she do. She'll be all right. That can't happen. Someone needs to pull this girl's coattail, this woman's coattails, sit her down for a minute. Let her catch her breath, if that's the case. Let her catch her breath. I mean, she's had a lot happen to her in the last few years. And sometimes life comes at you much faster than you can process. I'm trying to be kind with this. But what can't continue to happen is her saying, well, if you like the things that I like, then I need you to continue to like the things that I like. And if you don't, then I'm putting you on this list of people that I'm going to come after. A la Erica Kirk.
Oh, no.
This is really distasteful, and it is driving a wedge between her and everybody else that was a part of that turning point group. And people ask all the time, well, why isn't Candace involved in this? Why isn't Candace doing that? You know, when people are grieving, they don't have time for your shenanigans. They really don't. And the worse your behavior, the less time they have for you. Candace needs help.
Yeah, I mean, you know, this has gone far beyond just politics. It's spiritual warfare. And we talk about this on Christian Conservative, you know, by mocking Christians and elevating her own so-called wisdom, she has become a tool for Satan, a tool Satan can use to distract, deceive, and divide believers. And her whole take on Charlie Kirk is just disgusting. I mean, this is just the low of the low. I didn't think she could get any lower than that, but I guess that, I don't know, allegedly she is being paid by Qatar and things. So maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. But when Christians, you know, when she does this, she has a large following. People who, again, are impressionable, younger audiences, you know, she is pulling them into, you know, the wrong way. And so this is why we continue to call her out on these things. I'm glad that Officer Tatum is calling her out. He's, you know, been holding all kinds of he never was really like talking about Israel like he has been now, and I think he's doing it because he sees the damage that she's doing by pushing this Jew hate, by pushing this anti-evangelical Christian hate, and he's calling her out. So I'm glad he is, and I hope he continues to do it.
Agreed.